Okay, here I am in my treehouse. Chapter 3, A Matter of Life and Death. On Monday morning, I was standing in the rain under a bright pink umbrella. Don't laugh. I couldn't find my Batman umbrella, so I had to borrow my sister's pink one. It even had flowers on it. Yeesh! I'd rather get wet. Everybody knows tough guys hate pink. But those are the breaks when you're the youngest. I've got 3 older brothers and an older sister. People say it's easy being the youngest in the family. Well, I've got news for you. People are wrong. If you're the youngest, you get bossed around. You never win a fight. Your brothers call you Worm and Shorty, and your parents make you wear baggy, hand-me-down clothes and borrow your sister's pink umbrella. At school, I sat in Mrs. Gleason's class, room 201. There were 16 kids in our class, including Mila. It was an okay day for a Monday. During science, we learned all about the seashore, and for social studies, we studied Christopher Columbus. Monday was also art day. I got to draw whatever I wanted. It came out pretty good. Let me show you. Mila and I got a chance right before lunch. It was time for desk work. Mrs. Gleason was grading papers. We walked up to her desk. "Mrs. Gleason," I said. Mrs. Gleason looked up and smiled. "Yes? What can I do for you two?" "We really need to learn about snakes and hamsters," I said. Mrs. Gleason put down her blue pencil. "Wow, this sounds serious." "It is," said Mila. "Very serious," I whispered. "It's a matter of life and death." Mrs. Gleason put her hand over her mouth and her eyes got wide. "Oh, goodness," she said. "Can you help us?" I asked. "Well, I'll certainly try," she replied. Mrs. Gleason looked at the wall clock. In her loud teacher voice, she said, "Class, lunch is in 2 minutes. Please put away your projects and line up along the wall." She looked at Charlie Maloney goofing around with Mike Radcliffe. Mrs. Gleason suddenly looked tired. She pushed her hair away from her face. "Without killing each other," she added. Mrs. Gleason turned back to us. "Well," she said, I can think of a number of ways you can find out about hamsters and snakes. How about you?" "I thought of one," I said. "Asking you." Mrs. Gleason smiled. "That's a start, Theodore. How about you, Mila?" Mila answered, "Well, you could look in a book or maybe talk to somebody who knows a lot." "Yeah," I said, "like an expert." "Excellent," Mrs. Gleason said. "One of you can go to the library, either here at school or in town. I'm sure a librarian can help you find many wonderful books. You might also want to visit the computer room and try searching the internet." "My mom can probably take me to the library after school," Mila said. I frowned. "But what about me?" "Well, Theodore," Mrs. Gleason said, "it looks like it's your job to find an expert." "Oh, brother, I always get the dirty work." Chapter 4, World of Reptiles. Our plan was set. After school, Mila went to the town library to read about snakes. It was my job to visit a local pet store. The World of Reptiles. We decided to meet back at my house in an hour. There was only one problem. I needed a ride. Fortunately, my 16-year-old brother Billy had just gotten his driver's license. He always jumps at the chance of borrowing my mom's car. Screech! Billy slammed on the brakes. Oops, I turned 2 pages. Right in front of the pet store. He told me he'd pick me up in 10 minutes. "Make it 15, I said. "You got it, Jigsaw." Billy was my favorite brother. He was the only one who called me Jigsaw. My brothers Daniel and Nicholas were tied for second place. My sister Hillary, she came in last. I know it wasn't her fault, but I was still unhappy about that umbrella. World of Reptiles was a dark, stuffy little store. There was one customer inside. He was a skinny man with a leather jacket and black boots. Behind the counter sat a dark-haired woman. She smiled at me. She had a snake tattoo on her right arm. "Can I help you?" she asked. Just looking, I said. Reptile tanks and cages lined the walls. This store had every kind of weird animal you could imagine. It had skinks, ferrets, Gila monsters, box turtles, and talking parrots, even monkeys wearing diapers. It also had snakes, lots of snakes, small skinny ones and very, very big ones. I stopped in front of the biggest cage. It was glass, and it was about 10 feet tall. Inside there was a yellow python, thicker than my leg. It was curled up in a corner. It must have been 30 feet long. "What does he eat?" I asked the lady. She pointed to a large metal cage. I looked. It was filled with rabbits. "He eats bunnies?" I asked. She nodded. I glanced at the cage again. Poor little fuzzballs. Another customer went up to the counter. "I'll take 6 mice," he ordered. After he left, I went up to the woman. I didn't know people kept mice as pets," I said. "Oh, no," she answered. "They aren't pets. The mice are food. Snake food." "Would a snake eat a hamster?" She explained. A snake would love to eat a hamster, but people buy the white mice instead. They're cheaper. She came around the corner and led me to the cage. Inside, there were 2 rosy boas. 2 weeks ago," she said, pointing at a tan snake with a reddish tip on its tail, "this slippery rascal got out. In the morning, I found him on top of the hamster cage." "Did he eat the hamsters?" I asked. She shook her head. "No, they were safe. The hamster lid was on tight." She pushed the wire roof, and it didn't budge an inch. "Can hamsters escape?" I asked. "Sure," she said, "but only if the lid isn't on tight enough." "But how did they get out?" "How do they get out?" I asked. "Can they climb glass walls like Spider-Man?" "No," she said with a laugh. "They jump and hang on the edge. Actually, it's pretty amazing." I thanked the nice woman and headed for the door. I'd seen enough snakes to last a lifetime. Stay tuned for the next episode tomorrow. Bye.